Stay tuned, everybody, because it's time for the Playin on Music Row podcast with your host, Fran, heard each week on this station. And now, here's Fran.
Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Today, which I'm very proud to say, we have a fantastic guest coming to join us today. And that guest is Kenny Keith. And he's going to start it off right now with a get your clapping hands ready, because here we go.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. Hope you like the music. Well, Jehoshaphat was a mighty king, trying to do what is right. And suddenly the enemy came up and wanted to fight. Well, Jehoshaphat was so afraid, started shaking in his shoes. He looked to the prophet and he said, "Hey friend, can you tell me what we ought to do?" And the prophet said, "Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Stand still and see the power of his mighty word. Yeah, stand still and see there's a miracle on the way. So stand still and see you'll be delivered this very day." Well, Jehoshaphat told his singers to praise the beauty of holiness. And do not fear the enemy, the Lord's in control of this. We all know how the story ends, victory in the Lord. It's the same today as it was back then, if we'll just trust his word. And we can stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Stand still and see the power of his mighty word. We'll stand still and see there's a miracle on the way. Stand still and see you'll be delivered this very day. Miracles still happen, friends, they haven't passed away. Jesus Christ is still the same as he was yesterday. His word still delivers, still sets the captives free. Let's all join hands, believe his word, and in his name agree. And we can stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Stand still and see the power of his mighty word. Stand still and see there's a miracle on the way. Yeah, stand still and see you'll be delivered this very day. Stand still and see you'll be delivered this very day.
Well, welcome, Kenny. That was a great way to start off. Maybe give us a little bit of an idea about how that whole song came about. A little background on it, if you would.
All righty. Thank you. And let me just say, it's an absolute privilege to be here with you, Fran. I've been looking forward to this so much. Thank you so much for having me. And hello to everyone that's watching or listening or both. Actually, I was reading about Jehoshaphat. And I don't know, I just started having this little song, started bubbling in my feeble little mind here. And so I picked up the guitar and the Lord just gave me the song. And we went from there. It's pretty simple. It just came within 15 minutes. I had the song. music
Well, that's
and
why it
everything.
was so good when it comes from the best place it could possibly come from.
Yep, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. Um, well, let's get a little bit into your background over here. Um, Maybe I know you come from a kind of a musical family. They were musical. Can you tell us a little bit about what they did with music?
Well, my dad was a big band singer back during the 40s, and he sang with a lot of the real well-known orchestras. Had a great voice, and then he got saved. And when he got saved, he started singing gospel music in church. He got called to preach and began to preach. And but he still sang the way he sang back in the 40s. He still had that crooner phraseology and so forth in his voice, and a great tone. And people just loved the way he would sing an old hymn. He just had a little bit of a twist on it. It was a little different, and they loved it. My mom played piano, and my sisters, I had a bunch of sisters, and they all just instantly heard harmony. Even when they were like 4 and 5 years old, they were harmonizing. So I was a little bit older than everybody. I kind of left before they all got into music real good. But there was a time there for several years when Dad and the family would go out on a Friday night or a Saturday night, and the family would sing. And when I was around, then I'd take my guitar and go out there and join in with them.
Well, great. Let me ask you this question here. When did you actually start expressing yourself with music? You told me about the family, but how about yourself?
All right, I think I'm understanding. I actually I actually wrote my first song when I was about 9 years old.
Okay.
I was listening to the radio, and I was walking to school one day down in Tampa, Florida, and I had this little doo-wop song in my head. And next thing I know, I was singing something different. And the kids were saying, I never heard that song before. And I said, I just wrote it. And they said, what? And yeah, so I started writing these little silly little songs, and all the kids loved it because I was the only one that did it. So it's kind of a novelty. But I actually wrote my first really gospel song when I was 16 on the guitar. And I had a little folk group. It was 3 of us, 2 guitars and a guitar, baritone ukulele, and a baritone guitar. And we were doing right. Michael rowed a boat ashore and stuff like that. And I taught him the song I sang. And we were at church one evening, and my dad said, he said, the boys are here, and he said, let's let them come on and sing a song. So we sang, I don't know what song, and Dad said, sing that song you wrote. And so we sang it, and there was a guy there from a local group, and they liked it, and they recorded it. And then I wrote a few more, and a couple of years later, another local group recorded. Now, nothing really happened, but that was my first big start. And then after I got out of the Marine Corps, I went down to Nashville for 2 weeks, back on Old Music Row, with about 8 songs that I have recorded on a reel-to-reel. And so it began like that.
Okay. Well, I remember old Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went in there when I first came in. The first publishing company actually listened to my stuff was Cedarwood, which is like a little strip mall, which is no longer there. John Denny.
Well, I would walk in there, and they would say, what are you doing for a living right now? And I'd say, well, right now I'm a welder. And they'd say, well, go back and weld. You can't write songs and you can't sing songs.
Ooh,
You're terrible.
oh.
I got kicked out of so many of them, but I just kept going. I had 2 weeks vacation, and I just kept knocking on the doors.
Well, you actually have a talent.
I did find one that gave me in fact, recorded a country music song back about 1971, 72 with Double Talk Records, Charlie Lamb Corporation.
Yeah, well, you definitely have a talent. He blessed you with talent. That's for sure. Well, after graduating from high school, you went and you served in the military, which we thank you for doing there.
You're welcome.
But what did you do after you separated from the Marines?
I did a number of little things. I spent one thing that I really enjoyed. I spent almost 6 years in radio, and then I quit radio, but I loved it, and sometimes I think I would have stayed with it, but the Lord's got our life all planned out, and I got into youth fellowship and youth leadership, and then started doing some evangelistic work. The Lord began giving me a lot of songs, and I'd go around with my guitar to different places, and up in the mountains where I lived there in Virginia at that time. And then the next thing you know, they started asking me to share my testimony, which I did, and then got to preaching a little bit. So I've done a lot of things and gone around the circle a lot, but where I am right now is where I believe all of my experiences in life and everything that I've done have brought me to this point the last couple of years, 2 or 3 years. And last year was an exciting year for me, where things really started opening up for me. And it's just God's timing, God's plan. And I'm just so contented and so peaceful and so happy about it and excited about it. So there you go.
Well, great. Well, I know that when you actually you did a lot of different things talking about your successes, but you actually signed with Double Talk Records there, and then became like with the group of Reunion, right? And you had a little bit of success with that.
No, Reunion came many years after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, after Double Talk Records, then you went and you signed with or joined or came together with Reunion. I don't know if you started it.
Yeah, I started the group.
Okay.
Actually started on December the 31st, 1979. And we were
1979.
we were together for about 5.5 years.
Well, that's a long time ago. But you actually had some success with that, did you not?
We did. We were one of the early praise and worship type groups, because praise and worship was just really beginning. And then I wrote songs, and we did a lot of youth things, youth rallies, youth festivals. So we were a real youthful Christian band doing a lot of contemporary, what they call contemporary music, but it's plain old rock and roll, rock and roll Christian music, But we had, we got with Wind Chime Records, and we had one release with them that I don't know that it ever really charted. But we had a lot of phone calls from a lot of places, radio stations, and all over the middle part of the United States. God really blessed it. We had a good time for about 5.5 years.
Okay. Well, you're mentioning youth and everything, and I know that you actually have a heart for kids, and you have a mission. Your mission is to help children. And how are you doing that through the church?
Well, just being there for whatever and whoever needs me. How's that? That pretty well sums it up. I'm not taking an active role in a leadership or youth pastor or anything like that, because I'm really focused on this calling that God has put in my life with my new songs, my Southern gospel stuff.
Okay, well, let's go through your process. When we were talking about something interesting back in 2018, you released, I think it was a secular type CD or a root project. Did you not?
Actually, are you talking about the I've Made Up My Mind album, or the one before that?
Oh no, it was one before the 2018. It was, and then you came, and then I think a friend of yours or something kind of spoke you to go back to Christian.
Right. Yeah. Well, that first one was not Southern gospel, but it was gospel. It was songs that I wrote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I really kind of toned it down a lot, but it wasn't Southern gospel, and I was going to Southern gospel stations, and they wouldn't play it. And my friend just set me straight. She just not Southern gospel. And I went, what? She says, why do you hate Southern gospel? I said, are you kidding me? I was raised on this stuff. I love it. She said, well, you're not writing it. She said, you better learn to write a song to put a fiddle and a steel guitar on it.
Okay.
And I did. I went through a period of just praying, and then I said, okay, God, I think this is what I'm finally hearing you. I'm finally getting the message. And so we put out a brand new album called I Made Up My Mind, and this is this is what it looks like, and it's out there. Can be downloaded as many times as you want, folks, on all the platforms. And just as I had released it and so forth, and was sort of getting a little bit of airplay on my own, that's when COVID hit, and it just tanked.
Okay. Well, that's the original song we played is on that particular project.
It's on that one, yes, and it was God opened a door. It's a really cool story about how I met Randall, but he heard my stuff, and he called me back, and he said, "We'd like to do something with you." And he was so wonderful in the way he helped. And he said, I won't promise you anything. And the thing is, if I can tell you, is that I've got two good friends that I've known for about 35 years who live in Nashville, who are in the business, and they heard the CD. I've made up my mind. Played it for them, and they said, "Man, we like it. This is good." They said, "But listen, you're never going to get on radio. You're never going to be on the charts. The most you can expect," he said, "you're just too old," is what they told me. They said, "You're just too old." And they said, "Just get your guitar and go around to little churches and you'll be just fine." But, God's the God of the impossible. And when Randall came back and told me that he liked the music, he said, "It's marketable." I've never had anyone say that to me. And he said, what do you think we ought to release? I said, I've been trying to get people to listen to Stand Still and See. He said, "We think that's the one." And they released it actually in latter part of September of 2021. And then on December the 26th, and he would call me periodically and say, we're still gathering data, but they like it. But he told me, he was real upfront. He said, "Look, nobody knows you. You're an unknown." And I still am an unknown. I'm still trying to get people to know about me. But he said, "But we're going to work as hard as we can for you." He said, "I'll promise you that." And I got a text message on December the 26th from a number I didn't recognize it. And he says, it said, "Merry Christmas. Hope you had a great Christmas. By the way, you just made the charts." And I said, "Who?" I text back, "Who is this?" He said, "This is Randall, you dummy." And I started laughing. And I said, "Oh," he said, "it's my personal number." I said, "Okay, I'll put it down there." But I was so excited. The impossible happened. One of the guys in Nashville told me, said, "It's impossible for this to happen for you." And he said, "You only have one chance in a million." And I thought, well, that's all I need is one. And that one did pretty good for the first time out. It really did. And it was on the charts about 3.5 months, 4 months, something like that. And we released I've Made Up My Mind, and God really blessed that when he gave his favor. And I give all the credit and all the glory to God. He did it. I didn't.
Well, we'll be talking about that one too. That's released. Oh, there's a lot of different genres of Christian music. How do you think you fall? Where do you fall in on that?
Well, I really consider myself Southern gospel / country. I mean, there's in fact, the new CD that I've got out, I've got a quartet style backup on it. So it's good enough for quartet. I mean, quartets can sing the songs. I've always been kind of a sort of a country fan in a way. I like the sounds of harmonicas and steel guitars and fiddles and stuff like that. So I don't know how country I am, but I feel like I'm right in the middle of it.
Okay, great. Well, where do you actually record your songs?
Well, I think you can see it right there in back of me, my little studio right
Okay.
here. Yes, ma'am. Rivertown Studio is what I call it.
Okay. And how long have you been doing that at your studio? How long has that you've been active?
Well, I actually started recording in a little tiny bedroom in a house up in Virginia in 1988.
Okay.
So I've been here at this house and in this studio since, what is it? Call it the year 2000. So roughly 24 years here.
Well, that's great. What are your plans for your music career?
to be used by the Lord, to go where he sends me, to sing what he tells me to sing, to say what he tells me to say. I want to encourage people. I want to be entertaining, have a little fun, and I want people to leave with new enthusiasm. And the world that we live in, we need to shine our light. And I want them to be enthusiastic and to exalt the name of the Lord. And I'll go. Can I show my telephone number? You got my telephone number. Call me, I'll come.
There you go. Great advertising there.
Well, somebody's got to do it.
That's right. Well, good for you.
And but I'll go anywhere, anytime, and just share what God has done for me.
Okay. Well, you mentioned I've made up my mind, and I know that actually had getting some real good airplay and success on the chart. So maybe can you tell us a little bit about that?
I can. After I got the tongue lashing from the radio lady up in Scottsboro, when she told me, why are you such a prude? Why don't you like Southern gospel? I kind of pouted for a while, and then I sat in my chair and I began praying to the Lord, and I said, Lord, have I missed it? And he said, yep, you have. And I said, well, help me then. And I went in my car. I had some errands to run. I got in my car, and I was in my car about 30 minutes, and I began singing the first verse of this song out of nowhere. And I got a little recorder on my phone, and I recorded it down. When I got home, I got my guitar out, and about 30 minutes later, there was the song, my first real Southern gospel in this time frame of my life. And
That's
since
great.
then, I've gotten about 40 new ones.
Well, we're gonna play it right now.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do that. Okay. All right. There we go. Let's play.
Well, I've made my decision. I've made up my mind. I'll live for the Lord till the day that I die. It's great joy in knowing someday I am going to live with him there in the city foursquare. I've made up my mind. There'll be no more crying. There'll be no more dying. We'll celebrate, we'll jubilate, and worship the King of Kings. Walls made of jasper, streets paved with gold. I live with him there in the city foursquare. I made up my mind. I've never had riches, had fortune or fame. I've had tribulation, sickness and pain. But my God has promised a new world so fine. Gonna live with him there in the city foursquare. I made up my mind. There'll be no more crying. There'll be no more dying. We'll celebrate, we'll jubilate, and worship the King of Kings. Walls made of jasper, streets paved with gold. I live with him there in the city foursquare. I made up my mind. I live with him there in the city foursquare. I made up my mind. I live with him there in the city foursquare. I made up my mind.
That was fantastic there, Kenny. I'd like to keep it going. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about Come On Down.
Yeah, and that's on the This Storm Won't Last CD, and it's my latest single, and this is available for download. And I got a special deal for all your listeners right now. They can download as many copies as they want, and I won't stop them.
Okay. Okay. Good for you.
Actually,
let's play it. You want to play it?
Have you got it?
Yeah, we sure do. Here we go.
At the sound of the last trump, there'll be a meeting in the air. All the saints, everyone will be up there. We'll throw our crowns down at his feet, never more to die or sleep.
That was okay. That's the song. There's more to it, right? You want to play the whole thing?
It's up to you.
Okay, we'll do that. Let's go and complete that song. Yeah.
All right. The sound of the last trump, there'll be a meeting in the air. All the saints, everyone will be up there. We'll throw our crowns down at his feet, never more to die or sleep. Come on down, Lord, come on down, Lord. Come on down, come on down. We're waiting for you, Jesus. Come on down. We're ready for you, Lord. Come on down and get your bride. We're ready for the heavenly ride. Come on down, Lord. Come on down, Lord. Come on down. We will walk on the new road that is smooth and paved with gold, and we'll worship at the feet of Christ our King. On that day that never ends, with our Lord and all our friends, and we'll raise our voice and make the heavens ring. Come on down, we're waiting for you, Jesus. Come on down, we're ready for you, Lord. Come on down and get your bride. We're ready for the heavenly ride. Come on down, Lord. Come on down, Lord. Come on Jesus. Come on down, we're ready for you, Lord. Come on down and get your bride. We're ready for the heavenly ride. Come on down, Lord. Come on down, Lord. Come on down. Come on down, Lord. Come on down, Lord. Come on down.
Well, that's great, Kenny. Well, now you have two projects. Maybe you can give us a little idea of how the viewers and listeners can actually preview the songs and maybe purchase your your albums and find out about getting you out there to play in these churches.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, first off, both albums are out on all of the major platforms out on the web. So you can download it to your computer, you can download it to your phone, any type of device, your iPads, whatever. Apple Music has it. Apple Music, iTunes, Google Music, YouTube Music, any of the streaming platforms, Spotify. I mean, it's out over on 150 different platforms out there. So they can download it direct. If they want a copy, if they'd like to have a copy like this, at this point, I'll be happy to help them out. They can call my number, 256-683-4515, 256-683-4515. And I'll send them a copy of the CD if they want it. We can work it out. And I promised the Lord, when things started happening, I said, Lord, wherever you send me, I'll go. So if somebody's out there listening and they'd like to have me come out and be with them, I'll go. I don't care. If you're in Timbuktu, I'll figure out a way to get there.
Great. Well, we've covered a lot of area here. Is there anything that you'd like to maybe say that we haven't covered yet?
I really would like to have the prayers of everybody to pray for me, that I make the right choices and decisions as we go along, and just pray that wherever I go, that I do a good job for the Lord and a good job for the people, and that they, the three main pillars of my music ministry is music, message, and ministry. I do my best for the music on each song to be pleasing and give you it's easy to listen to and so forth. Every song that I write has a message. That's my preaching right there. You might have to listen to the song 2 or 3 times before you finally start getting, because there's a lot of stuff in these songs that I put in there. And so my final prayer is, and I pray this every time I go out, is I say, Lord, take the music and take the message, and the Holy Spirit, anoint it and anoint me as I sing, and anoint it to the hearts of the people, and you minister to them, Lord, however they need to be ministered to. So that's my deep urge, and what really drives me is to just be a blessing to people. And pray for me, and I'll pray for you.
Oh, excellent. Well, Kenny, we thank you very much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
You are so welcome. It was my pleasure.